Hello and welcome to our series in ransomware. This is the first series where we are going to pretty much talk about how does ransomware work, and we'll have two more sessions on it that will come very shortly after this one. With this, let's get started. So the first thing that we want to settle with this first series and first video is, so what is ransomware? There's a lot of definitions. We want to just set a couple of things that we want everyone to be clear. First thing is ransomware is a malware that pretty much is preventing access to files unless you pay a ransom to get those back. This affects servers, affects computers, it affects your file shares, your backups, pretty much everywhere. Some of the most common vectors for ransomware are phishing emails, open remote desktop connection or RDP ports, unpatched programs and patch operating systems, and compromised websites and some free software that you download from the web. So how ransomware works is whenever you contact this, they will go and encrypt not only your computer, but they will also try to encrypt all the shares that they can access, all the shared drives that you have in your computer, and also is going to try to find any backups files that you may have, and also encrypt those too. A good example of a message that you will get, for example, you get CryptoLocker, will be your personal files have been encrypted or something like that, that will appear with a big red screen in the middle of the screen. Sometimes, well, actually all the time, whenever you want to pay that ransom, you have to use cryptocurrency. In this case, Bitcoin is the normal way that people will pay this ransom in case that they want to pay it. So how ransomware attacks work? And this is just an example with a phishing email, right? So we have a sender or an attacker in this case who send a phishing email to a recipient. The recipient, without realizing, they will click it, they will go to a site. This site will have some kind of malware. The user will get that malware, will get that computer infected, and then those things don't happen immediately. So that malware will reside on a computer, and at some point, that malware will communicate with a network of servers that are called C&C servers, command and control servers. These servers then will send a public key to the computer and will start all the encryption process, right? This normally happens through a Tor network, which is pretty much a place that you cannot track where it's coming from, and it's very hard for you to identify the source of where this is coming from, this public key. When the public key is in your computer and finish pretty much all the encryption, you will get that message saying, hey, your files have been encrypted. You know, you have to pay for you to get those files back. Now, how happen when you have to, you know, get Bitcoin and pay for ransom in case you want to do that? The funny thing is you will use the same Tor network. So you will get in these anonymizers where you will pretty much cannot identify where the traffic is coming from, purchase some Bitcoin, and at the same time pay the ransom. Is that what you want to do? And if the hacker deliver the key, it will use the same network to deliver the private key. In that way, your files will be decrypted. Now, something important to say here is paying ransom, it doesn't mean that you will get that key, right? That's something that we all know, just to be cautious. So these are the 6 steps of any ransomware attack. Now, something interesting, and we'll talk more about this in the second session, is you can protect yourself, or you can do something about it in any of these steps. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that needs to happen, at least 6 steps for you to be encrypted, your files to be encrypted. So think in those 6 steps, because we'll get more deep in the next series about how you can prevent this from happening. Now, a couple of things that we have seen in the last couple of, I would say, last year, and especially in the last months, we have seen a lot of this type of attack, is that phishing has changed from being number 2 to number 1 in a lot of cases for a door of entrance. You know, people, some of our customers are seeing that they're patching their servers, are getting better about, you know, firewall rules, like not getting RDP open, but that's still, you know, the phishing is still a problem all over the place. The second thing is, a lot of people don't know that these phishing attacks can happen. We have been doing a great job in security awareness and training, but there is still some opportunity for us to improve that. The third thing is weak passwords. You know, we have seen people who use 4 characters password, 5 character password. That's sadly, you know, no longer an alternative. You need to use my recommendation. It will be at least 12 characters, and my recommendation will be also a phrase, not a password. And of course, we have seen an increase in new domains and malware that was leveraging those domains that are new, and then sometimes they're not categorized to deliver these ransomware attacks. Now, there's 3 tools that we have seen an increase in the use of ransomware: the ransom SamSam, the Mimikatz, which if you're not familiar with Mimikatz, is a very traditional password hashing collection tool, and any kind of off-the-shelf administration for penetration testing tool. These are all tools that are available, are very easy to use, very easy to download from the web, and people that are doing ransomware attacks are leveraging those to attack your organization. Now, when we talk about where we see most attacks in the sectors, we see healthcare being top, and follow closely, well, not closely, but followed by banking, construction, insurance, utilities, manufacturing, education, professional services, and a good portion of others. But this is something that every target sector that we have seen is always, you know, going to be between those top 10 that then move between first and second, sometimes between banking or healthcare. Professional services has been huge last year, for example. Now, this is a very short video, so we want you to understand what's ransomware and take that home, because we're going to continue building up your knowledge from here. So let's make sure you have some takeaways from today video. The first one is phishing is the door of entrance of a lot of these ransomware attacks. So educating your user, making sure they don't click to things that they should not, this is still one of the most effective ways of preventing phishing from happening. The second thing is the traditional ransomware attack that was kind of working on your computer only and try to, you know, make sure that your files were encrypted, or maybe even your map drives is no longer. They're making much more smart ransomware attacks that they will go for your backup files. So you have to be you need to make sure is where are those backups files? Do I have air gap between my backups and, you know, some level of offsite backups that I need to have these files in case that, you know, I have ransomware attacks on my devices. And the last question is, how do I know if I may be vulnerable to ransomware attacks? And I'm not going to spoil anything that we're going to see in the second series, but think in those 6 steps. Think in those 6 steps as possible vulnerability entry points for these ransomware attacks within your network. With that, I hope you enjoyed this very short video on ransomware attacks, and I hope you also join me for the second video, which is going to be pretty much on working, how to identify them and prevent from them to happening. Thank you, and have a good day.